Time for your favorite Sunday morning show. That's Media Monitor with me as your host, Alicia Jali. Now, this is a very special show, and of course, we're going to be discussing education this hour. Good morning and Happy New Year. Well, my very first guest for the year 2016 this morning is Ms. Troy Martins, the Ministry Media Liaison Officer as well as spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education. Ma'am, a very good morning to you. Happy 2016. Welcome to Media Monitor, Troy.
Good morning to you and Happy New Year to you and your viewers.
Thank you so much, Troy. Well, before we delve into our discussion around educational matters, let's first tell our viewers that a whirlwind of events transpired in the basic education sector this past year. Events including the alleged reports of SATU officials soliciting bribes in return for teaching posts, the occurrence of racial intolerance in primary schools, the likes of Kiro and Rudaport, and the matric exam paper leaks, just to mention a few. The one report, though, that stood out the most was the end to the textbook saga that had been looming since 2009. And for more on this, let's take a look at this insert.
In its initial application, the Department of Basic Education argued that an impossible standard of perfection had been imposed on it, and that it was practically impossible to deliver books to all schoolgoers on time. The department considered that at the time of the much-publicized textbook saga, learning and teaching were in crisis in Limpopo.
It is declared that Section 29(1)A of the Constitution entitles every learner at public schools in Limpopo to be provided with every textbook prescribed for his or her grade before commencement of the teaching of the courses for which the textbook is prescribed. 2, it is declared that it is the duty of the state, in terms of Section 7, subsection 2 of the Constitution, to fulfill the Section 29(1)A right of every learner by providing him or her with every textbook.
The appeal court upheld the ruling that the department's failure to provide textbooks to some pupils violated their right to education and constituted unfair discrimination.
Now, Troy, do tell us what you think about that verdict there.
Well, obviously, this is something that we have received the judgment from the Supreme Court of Appeal as the Department of Basic Education, and we are currently, as we speak, consulting our legal teams before we make a decision on whether we are going to take this to the Constitutional Court. Now, as a principle, we accept, and it is our own policy, that we want every child to have the relevant textbook for every subject in every grade. Mm-hmm. And this is something that we are working towards tirelessly as the Department of Basic Education. For the 2015 school year, we made immense progress. We actually had 93% coverage of textbooks across the country, and in Limpopo in particular, we had 99% coverage. So this is a huge improvement on previous years. We're looking at different ways to make our systems more efficient. For example,
what was the problem, Troy, if I can just get in there quickly?
Well, there have been many problems in that province. As you know, we took over the province under Section 101A, and now it's under Section 101B. It was financial mismanagement problems in the education department in Limpopo, and these are things that we're still grappling with. But there is really no excuse for not ensuring that those learners have textbooks. We have a universal textbook policy that we aspire to, and we have improved immensely in the efficiency of our delivery systems. For example, what we're doing now is we're looking at different ways to make our systems more efficient. So we're looking at having a core textbook per subject where it's a universal textbook. This will enable us to buy in large quantities at big discounts and be more efficient. We're also looking at printing our own textbooks, whereas, for example, a matric maths textbook can be up to 250 Rand per textbook. Imagine. We can print our own material and our own textbooks for around 45 Rand or 50 Rand a textbook. So these are things that we're looking at to really try and make the system more efficient. And we're encouraging provinces to make use of the universal tender that we've set up with the Treasury Department. and yeah, we believe that we are making the requisite progress.
Look, Troy, let's talk about the current challenges that are still imminent within the Basic Education Department and how you plan to actually, try and work those out as we speak schools right at the beginning of the year.
Well, yes. So what we're doing is admissions are a challenge for us because of rural to urban migration between different schools and different provinces. So it does make it difficult to plan. But what we're doing is we're ensuring that schools report any shortfalls that they have as soon as they can, as soon as the school year starts, because the planning, they should have had those textbooks at the end of the previous year for the beginning of this year. But if, for example, there's an increase in admissions that they weren't expecting, then we can provide top-ups as soon as they report those to us. We have made provisions for that, so that we don't have these types of issues reoccurring.
Look, let's talk about the positive now. I know that government is assisting school children. You were talking about the issue of staying far from school. I know that you're assisting in terms of transport as well as nutrition. Do tell us about those great strides.
Well, we feed 9.2 million learners every day. This is, we believe, one of the biggest breakthroughs in our social services package. Absolutely. Because it really does help the development of our learners, as well as their ability to concentrate in school, their health. It's very difficult for a learner who's hungry to be able to concentrate and learn adequately. And this is really one of the things that we're very proud of as this government. In terms of scholar transport, we are in the process of finalising our scholar transport policy with the Department of Transport, and we're hoping to really, especially it is an issue in the more rural provinces.
Absolutely,
where
yes,
learners obviously live quite far from schools in some cases. For example, in the Eastern Cape, learners and schools, it's very sparsely populated, so often learners have to travel quite far distances to be able to get to school. So these are some of the things that we're working on improving, especially for the 2016 year.
Look, Troy, while we're on that point, a lot of people are saying we take our children to different schools because the local schools don't usually provide the best education, quality education. What do you say about that?
Well, I think this is a misconception that we need to work on, and we actually need communities to get involved in the school process. We need communities to take ownership of a school, and if they feel that the school isn't performing adequately, they need to get involved. We have school governing body structures especially for that, where parents and community members, what's another great thing is what we've seen in some schools that are really successful, just making the school look aesthetically pleasing. And that's something that it enhances the learning environment. It makes learners proud to go to that school if it looks fantastic and it's got a well-tended garden. And this is things that parents and community members can really get involved in, as well as taking ownership of the security of schools. Often we know that crime, people in the community are aware of criminals, and criminals, the community needs to make sure that schools are a no criminal zone. Absolutely, that criminals are not allowed to touch the schools. We are in a process. We've recently had the Operation Pakisa into ICT in education, and this is something that we're very excited about. I know in Gauteng and the Western Cape, they've really made huge strides in rolling out ICT in schools. This will really, in the future, take away these textbook issues and things that we've been grappling with, because you can have a tablet like the one I've got in front of me, and you can really have all the textbooks that you need loaded onto here. We've digitized our entire curriculum. We have digitized readers. We're in the process of this Operation Pakisa. One of the main challenges is connectivity to schools. So we're working with the Department of Communications, as well as with service providers like Vodacom, MTN, Cell C, the big ones, to really assist us in providing connectivity to schools. And they really have come to the party. They really are assisting. So there's lots happening in the education sphere at the moment, and really exciting stuff.
Very exciting indeed. You have to stay tuned for more shortly after this break.
Looking for social issues?
It is not our intention to give condoms to 10-year-old children.
We are here to assist you.
Looking for religious issues?
The point is not for the church to try and prove whether this is the fact.
So we want accountability. Is there a system of governance in your churches?
Political issues.
Barack Obama said Africa should stop looking to the outside for salvation and focus on someone else being at fault for the problems of the continent.
Economic issues.
The young mothers, single mothers that's buying property now.
Or just looking to air your views.
Here are some of your views on social media.
Look no further, as Newsroom has all the informative information you need. Weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Children's rights and health are a priority in the journey of good health.
All children should have access to adequate health care, not only curative but preventative as well.
How to identify ADHD on children.
ADHD is a childhood disorder which manifests with the symptoms of hyperactivity, impulsivity, and or inattention.
Is breastfeeding still a vital nutrition to babies even today?
Breastfeeding for the first 6 months of life is absolutely crucial.
Catch Health Talk with Dr. Sello Mutawung every Saturday from 9 till 10 a.m.
Welcome back. You're watching Media Monitor. If you've just joined us, we're still discussing education and, of course, what the Education Department has in store for all learners this new year. I am with Ms. Troy Martins. Remember, you can also share your views on this discussion at SA Media Monitor. All right, now, the basic education faced many challenges last year, but the introduction of tablets in schools display that technology and e-learning are here to stay in forward-thinking South Africa. And if parents buy into the concept of 21st century learning and teaching as much as teachers and pupils do, well, it can be a recipe for success. All right. Now, Troy, we were talking about something. I want us to continue so that we don't lose the momentum of this discussion. You mentioned something very, very intelligent earlier on, and you said that the community needs to take ownership of the schools. I did an interview just now in December, and a lot of people were saying there's this war between student governing bodies and the basic education department, which is why a lot of your policies are not properly effected. What's going on there? What are you doing to repair that relationship?
I don't know where that comes from because we have a spectacular relationship with our school governing bodies. The Minister of Basic Education actually meets with school governing bodies quite regularly to brief them on what's happening in the sector, and they are a very important and crucial part of the schooling system. I mean, these are the parents of the children that we are the custodians of in the basic education sector, and they have a huge role to play in terms of the language policy of schools, in terms of the code of conduct of schools. They have a huge role to play in making sure that there's sound financial management in schools. We send our school governing bodies on extensive training to really equip them with the skills that they need to participate actively in the school governing bodies. And we really encourage parents to get involved. We had the school governing body elections last year, so we've got a new fresh batch of school governing bodies from as of 2015 going in for the next couple of years. So we're really excited about this, and we're looking, you know, there does seem, the beauty of education, and this is what I love about the sector, is people are all passionate. Everyone's passionate about their child's education. It's something that as South Africans we really value. And this is why it's so important for parents to get involved, and we really encourage active school governing bodies.
All right, let's now put that issue to rest and continue now. Troy, you touched on it earlier as well. Has e-learning become successful? And of course, tell us about some of the plans for 2016 in regards to more rollouts of the tablets.
Well, you know, it really is the future, and we're very excited about what we see happening in some of our provinces. For example, the MEC of Gauteng, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, is really spearheading this process. We've seen great strides made in the Western Cape as well, and in the Eastern Cape, we have some great projects that we're running in the Eastern Cape in terms of ICT and education. What we find is ICT can really help us address some of the persistent challenges we have. For example, in our small multi-grade schools in rural areas, while teachers are assisting learners in one area, they can really have a tablet or a computer or a laptop going through some of the things via e-learning or ICT learning while the teacher is busy with another child. This is also really assisting in our inclusive education strategy, because while some learners perform at a stronger or higher pace than other learners, the learners who are struggling, the teachers can give them more time, while the technology can assist those who are managing and coping with moving ahead and moving forward in the curriculum. So there's some great things happening. We had, last year we had the Operation Pakisa started in ICT in education. We saw different stakeholders coming on board, really putting their minds together to come up with a comprehensive strategy, and we're looking forward to the outcome of the Operation Pakisa. We've been getting reports and it really is going well, so we're excited to see the rollout. Obviously, connectivity in schools is an issue. We're working with our service providers such as Vodacom, MTN, Cell C in the sector, Telkom as well, to really address some of those challenges. And we're really excited about the future. We want to bring South African learners into the 21st century, and we believe that it will assist in addressing some of the academic challenges that we have in the sector.
But you do agree then, Troy, that they will obviously need some sort of career guidance at schools. Tell us a bit about that.
No, most certainly, and we work with the Department of Higher Education in this regard. We have career days that they set up with the different opportunities and options out there, because one of the things that we find is often learners don't know how many options there are. They think from school we need to go to a traditional university academic environment. And for 2016, this is one of the things that we're very excited about in education, is we're introducing our new curriculum for technical high schools, and we're putting an increased focus on vocational education and training.
Awesome stuff.
We're working with the TVET colleges from higher education. So from grade 9, learners will be able to embark on, instead of a purely academic pathway, to go into a vocational education pathway. And as you know, in the National Development Plan, we need skilled artisans in this country. You know, and an academic university pathway is not the only option that learners have available to them. There is a whole world of artisan and occupational, vocational education options that are out there and that learners need to take advantage of.
Look, Troy, before I let you go, please clear the confusion around the ANAs. Why are ANAs important, please?
ANAs are an extremely important diagnostic tool in order for us to mediate the challenges that we have in the sector. If you look at any of the academic reports, they will always highlight the reports from the annual national assessments to say, in grade 9, we have a serious challenge in mathematics. Where are learners having problems? Where do we need to intervene? Where can we put measures in place? What areas do we need to improve on teacher training, professional development, all of these sorts of things? Those interventions are a product of the annual national assessments, and that's what makes them so crucially important. Schools wrote the annual national assessments from the 26th of November 2015 up until the 4th of December 2015, and we have taken the teacher trade unions who raised concerns on board, and they are part of the process of revising the current model of the annual national assessments. And for 2016, you will see a new revised ANA put on the table, and we're looking forward to that.
That's exciting news, certainly. Troy, thank you so much for your time here on Media Monitor.
Thank you so much for having us on.
All right, well, that was Ms. Troy Martins, Ministry Media Liaison Officer, as well as spokesperson for the Basic Department of Basic Education, rather, and she was taking us through what their department has in store for us in this new year. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have more Media Monitor shortly after this break. Do stay tuned.
Looking for social issues?
It is not our intention to give condoms to 10-year-old children.
We are here to assist you.
Looking for religious issues?
The point is not for the church to try and prove whether this is the fact.
So you want accountability? Is there a system of governance in your churches?
Political issues?
Barack Obama said Africa should stop looking to the outside for salvation and focus on someone else being at fault for the problems of the continent.
Economic issues?
The young mothers, single mothers that's buying property now.
Or just looking to air your views?
Here are some of your views on social media.
Look no further, as Newsroom has all the informative information you need. Weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News channel.
Didier Drogba, a footballer from Ivory Coast, was named as the third most influential celebrity in Africa.
Where I saw him display, he's very nice player. He always make an impact.
Drogba donated his $5 million endorsement fee to the construction of a hospital in Abidjan.
Well, there are some lesser-known football stars in the continent that you haven't met.
Really?
And are deserving of more attention.
I think we will do better.
The Journal, every Saturday at 1:30 on SABC News.
All right, welcome back. My guest now for the rest of this hour is Mr. Mahlubi Mabizela. He's the Chief Director at the University Policy and Development from the Department of Higher Education and Training. Sir, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Media Monitor. Happy New Year.
Morning, ma'am. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you so much. Well, around this time of the year, many unsuspecting school leavers find themselves desperate to get into institutions of higher learning, and many fall prey to bogus college operators. The Department of Higher Education and Training has been warning potential students to verify their accreditation of any private college or university before enrolling for studies. Let's take a look at this clip.
Well, as a Department of Higher Education and Training, we are quite worried about the mushrooming of these fly-by-night colleges operating quite illegally. With no compliance with our regulations as a department, and there are many victims throughout the country, young people who have spent a lot of money enrolling in these private colleges, only to find that at the end of the day these are fake colleges. They are offering fake qualifications, so their future just gets destroyed. So as a department, we are in a campaign to clamp down, to close down these colleges, and actually encourage and drive the message home to people that they must ensure that before they enroll on any college, they must first check with us as a Department of Higher Education and Training whether is it a legal college, does it comply with our standards, so that they don't pour money on an institution that is not going to take them anywhere.
Baba Mahlubi, look, there's a saying that says, in God we trust, everything else we verify. What do you think about these bogus colleges still in 2016?
Yes, the problem is that there are people who always want to take chances. And also they know for a fact that there are many students who get desperate to find places
last minute
for
as well.
post-secondary education. Exactly, yes. So that is the problem we are having. So it's the fire that we try to stop, but there's something that fuels it, and that is the desperation of people wanting to get into post-school education and training.
So what are you doing about this impasse, sir?
Well, we have got throughout the year, in fact, deal with the bogus colleges involved in the SAPS. And again, we will see the spike of them at the beginning of the year when the students are desperate to get into some kind of tertiary education.
Look, Baba, there's a serious skills shortage problem in South Africa, and of course, not every child can go to university. How do we then encourage those children who can't get into varsity necessarily to try these skills colleges?
Yeah. Well, to start with, in fact, even with the private institutions, we've got them registered with the department, those that are operating legally. And so when you're desperate, you've got to verify whether that private institution is registered, officially registered one or not.
How do you verify this?
Well, the easiest would be to get to our website, because we've got a list of them there. www.dhet.gov.za. That's the easiest, and verify them. But with every college that you step into, just check first whether they should have a certificate. They should have a valid certificate displaying it. Legally, they are required to do that, to display the certificate from the department. But otherwise, we've got a very vibrant sector called the TVET colleges, Technical Vocational Education and Training Colleges. If you can't make your way to the university, but otherwise we are making those colleges of choice. It's not a question of if you can't go to a university, then there is a college. If you want to be an artisan, definitely that's where you want to start. You don't want to start anywhere else. And they are a sector that has been neglected in the past, and in fact, in terms of our legacy, they are a sector that has been ignored. So we are resourcing that sector in various ways, improving the quality of teaching and learning there, expanding the colleges so that they are accessible, offering different types of programs, so that the students can choose from, improving, as I said, the quality of the lecturers, and the universities are involved there in improving that. So that is what we are doing with the sector. And of course, we've got campaigns. We are in the decade of artisan now, and if you want to be an artisan, that you can only get that qualification at a TVET college.
Okay. Look, Mahlubi, the issue of career guidance at basic education, how important is it for students that are now going to leave the basic education and go to higher learning?
Very important. In fact, so important that we run it throughout the year. And we are in partnership with the SABC.
Tell us what you do.
We've got a constant slot in the evenings on the different radio stations of the SABC. It's a campaign called KETA.
Yes.
Choose. So it assists with the career guidance, and it doesn't matter which area you want to go to post school, whether you want to go to a university or you want to go to a TVET college. We assist everybody there with the career guidance.
Mahlubi, how crucial is it for a student to make the correct choice of subjects before getting into higher learning?
Very, very crucial, because it's not only determining your future, it's also about how you perform.
Absolutely, at varsity.
Where's your passion, exactly. Because you see, if you don't have passion for something and you are not performing well in it, then you are definitely not going to do well in it at university or even at TVET colleges. So it's important that the choice you make in terms of the passion then reflects on the subjects that you choose at school. And in fact, here, the teachers at school are supposed also to assist with the career choices and subject choices, subject combination of learners. So it's no point, for instance, if you've going to become a scientist, that you are spending time on humanities, history, for instance, and so on, that you specialize on that. There's nothing wrong with doing history, but especially if you want to specialize.
I did history.
Exactly. If you want to specialize, though, in the exact sciences, mathematical or life sciences, then you've got to start from the foundation, that is schooling level, to be taught in those the basics in those subjects.
Look, Mahlubi, let's just give our pupils out there, or all our viewers that are watching at home, what are some of the skills that are in dire shortage in this country that we need those people to actually go and study? Because we know our people, they all go and study commerce, they all go and study this in that group.
Yeah. Well, if you generalize and say sciences, we are always desperate for scientists. And then if you do sciences at school level, then there are branches that you will go to at post-school education and training. When I say sciences, I mean mathematical and life sciences, so you can become doctor, a doctor, medical doctor, or you can become an engineer, and in various types of engineers that we need in the country, various types of specialization in the health sciences that we need. And in different levels, you get technologists, for instance, you get technicians, and you get the qualified engineers on the other side. So it's a range of qualifications that you will get, as I say, if you generalize and say sciences, and then you branch into different types of sciences at post-school education.
So it's not just like, okay, I'll only study science to become a doctor. There's a multitude of career options that can emanate from that.
Absolutely. And these days, the choice really is very, very wide. And if you think of technology, what technology has brought to us, again, that's an area of a large scope.
All right, hold it there, Babu Mahlubi, because there's something that our viewers need to know. And you spoke about this earlier. Technical and vocational education and training. TVET colleges offer a wide variety of technical skills that will enable the youth to enter the employment market, while others may embark on being entrepreneurs with the skills acquired through vocational training. Here's a look at an insert now.
Things that are being achieved at a number of our colleges are phenomenal. Ntatling tells us that 80% of the young people who leave this college are able to get jobs, real jobs out there in the world of work. Now that is a phenomenal achievement, and which gives credence to what we are doing here and what Minister Nzimande and his department are doing in terms of rolling out all these FET colleges, or the TVET colleges, throughout the country, and this is one of the real well-performing TVET college. And I'd like to thank the Minister and indeed the principal of this college for allowing us to come and have our meeting here and to be able to see exactly what is being done.
Look, Baba, I have to ask you this. I mean, the hashtag Fees Must Fall campaign, how does it then affect learning? Because we are expecting the student protest to resume this year.
Yeah, well, it does. And the students have already also warned us that there's going to be Fees Must Fall season 2. But we're preparing for that. We usually prepare anyway for the beginning of the year. For the admissions and registration period that starts around mid-January until beginning of March. And then late registrations, and various institutions, ending the late registration right into March. So we prepare. It's affecting the academic year, because some institutions, for instance, have had to postpone their examinations. So the exams are starting in January. UWC, University of the Western Cape, Cape Peninsula University of Technology, and also the Soshanguve campus of Tshwane University of Technology. So those institutions have had to postpone the exams. So it affects it like that, and it will then affect the academic year of those institutions again. And they will have to do some catch-up of time maybe cutting short the winter holiday and right up to the final exams of next year. And it affects the individuals,
sure.
you know, because now they've got to...
You were supposed to graduate and then you've got 3 more months.
Absolutely. And also in terms of the exams, it's not always easy to prepare for exams during festive. And so those students have got to prepare for exams now that those will be writing in January. So it affects us in various ways. But the core issue indeed of Fees Must Fall is about funding of higher education.
How's higher education dealing with this, Bab Mahlo?
Well, the good thing is that, you know, when the state president announced the no fee increases for 2016, he also announced the task team that was set up at the beginning of October, you know, that it needed to report by end of November. So, and the terms of reference of that task team, you know, were about funding, basically. Funding the historic debt, that's what the students call it in the sector. That is the debt owed by students to the institutions, as well as, you know, finding the money for the shortfall that will be created by no fee increases. And again, you know, it doesn't end there. We have to be looking into the future as well. The cost of our higher education is quite high.
Absolutely.
So we do understand that, and so we just need to get more money. Where do we find it? That's where the problem is. You know, that's for all of us as in South Africans, you know, to determine where we get that money from.
Mahlobi, does this affect the TVET colleges or development colleges, skills development colleges?
Not so much, because at the TVET colleges, well, it's been quiet. And also that if you are on national student financial aid scheme at a TVET college, you know, your fees are paid for completely. So basically, it's a cost of study that is paid, you know, from your books to meals, fees, and so on.
All right, you'll tell us more shortly after this break. Please don't go anywhere.
News Today takes an in-depth look on news locally, continentally, and globally. We bring the world to your home. We cover all economy news extensively to keep you informed. We are live to break news as and when they happen across the world. We analyze news using experts in all aspects. Make a date with News Today every Monday to Friday from 3 to 5:30 p.m.
Vera Ephraim defied family and traditions to follow her dream.
Decided that I'm going to prove to them that they were wrong.
The first breakthrough came in when she was studying and touring in Europe.
That was my first breakthrough.
Generations was her first television debut in South Africa.
It was my first gig. I was very excited. I was very happy. I said, yeah, this is confirmation I'm at the right place.
After pain, rejection, and suffering, her dream became a reality.
I followed my path, and I'm happy and grateful and blessed.
Join your host, Puleng Mulabati, on Wupilong every Friday at 17:30.
Controlesa is actually stirring the pot here.
I'm sure they've been consulted as Controlesa. They did not see a snake. Now that in certain areas there are certain benefits that might possibly be accruing, there is a snake, now we need to reverse the process.
I agree, but it is not above the sovereignty of the people. The very same court you're talking about.
The sovereignty of the people, probably you should explain that to me.
The sovereignty of the people is above everything.
It is not proper the way facts are presented to the public. Are you in contact with Khosekgolo Motshodi?
He was kicked out by the court because he wanted to be
Amicus Curiae.
For your weekly dose of all things legal, join Dumile Mateza every Sunday at 2 p.m. only on SABC News Channel.
All right, welcome back. You're still watching Media Monitor, and you can still share your views on Twitter on our discussions today. The last year has been a roller coaster for the institutions of higher learning throughout the country. The youth of South Africa shook this nation to the core when they took their destiny into their hands in the fight for free and quality education through the infamous #Fees Must Fall campaign. President Jacob Zuma then announced there will be a 0% in university tuition fees for this academic year. Babu Mahlubu, we're still talking about this, and what else can you tell us about this? Is there going to be valuable and viable solutions when it comes to the issue of quality education and whether or not it's going to be free?
Well, it's going to be difficult to attain free education.
Just now?
Well, absolutely. And what we have been talking about is free education to the poor and not generally to everyone. And of course, you know, there's got to be determination of who the poor is. And the commission or the task team that the minister had set up did assist us there. For instance, if you are below the SARS bracket, you know, if you don't pay any tax, then you're regarded as poor. And SARS has got a cut-off point. And then the next category, you know, let's say if it's 75,000 rand, the next category would be up to, let's say, 150,000 rand, and you are still in the low levels of tax bracket. And therefore, you know, what compensations or what concessions that government can make to assist with education, and so on, different categories. So to have a completely free education is difficult. Anyway, even the Constitution doesn't say free education. Even the Freedom Charter doesn't say free education for the post-school education and training, for higher education. What it says is that there should be assistance that the state provides. And also the task team, in fact, said if you then, when you are employed, even if you are below the SARS tax bracket, but when you are employed, then there will be expectation that there will be some paying back, you know, that you will do. In certain instances, it can be in kind, and in certain instances, it could be monetary. And
I'm not even going to explore that option.
Well, through employment, for instance, you can do voluntary work, you know, for the state or in a government institution for a certain number of years or a certain period of time. Or then, you know, the paying back a certain percentage financially, so that you can assist those who are coming from behind. Now, you see, internationally, the countries that offer free education are rich countries. And we are nowhere near being a rich country in South Africa. So the affordability of free education has got to be something that we have to be talking about, even for the poor.
Mahlubi, and that brings me right to my next question. I mean, what kind of debates as the Higher Education Department are you now having to try and look into this issue of funding?
Well, the task team that the president had set up was doing quite a lot of that work quite intensely, and different sectors also contributing in that debate, including National Treasury. That's where we all get our monies from.
Yes.
But also, you know, as the sector, to start with, as the higher education and training sector, including the students, there are valuable number of ideas creativity that people can come up with that would offer us options on how do we then fund education, because it doesn't just lie with National Treasury. We need to be talking about the money that lies around, and that, you know, the private sector, for instance.
Absolutely, yes. Everybody's been calling on business.
Again. Exactly. But also, even the broader society, we've got to tap in those ideas, from the broader society on how do we achieve the goal of free education for the poor people in the country and who would be poor. And also, how do we assist even those who can afford sometimes education? How do we assist, that you get through and then, we have the compensation or the paying back of the money.
Look, Mahlubi, just to wrap this all up, you've said that the 2016 calendar has been affected greatly. How do we then move forward and rectify this?
Well, we're doing quite a lot of planning. We have started, we met with the registrars of all the universities, we've met with the vice-chancellors and the councils. We are having a program that we will be rolling out at the beginning of the year, assisting those institutions or focusing on the institutions where the exams were postponed or cancelled, but also driving our own programs. We're going to be meeting with the students a number of times. There has been an element, we've got to say this, there has been an element also of some people who have been hijacking the good cause that the students are fighting for, but also trying to meet their own ends. So we've got to even isolate that element and keep focused. And the focus for us is to find more money for the higher education system.
That's it.
It's something that we've been talking about for quite a number of years.
That's the solution right there. Well, let's take a look at some of the tweets that you have for us this morning. Bulletproof Soul says people need to wake up and educate themselves with regards to fake colleges. Now, this cannot be discussed every single year. My sentiments exactly, Bulletproof. Mandla Gumete says this is not a government war. All of us need to fight illegal schools by reporting them to authorities. Thank you, Mandla. Preach that gospel. And of course, Dr. Makalenda says they just need to go check and make sure that every school there is out there operates under legal terms. All right, let's take one more. Padney Lee Ray says one part to support while another blaming third force. Fees is still too expensive. Most black and poor. Where is a Freedom Charter? All right, that's where we're going to leave it with our tweets today. Baba, thank you so much for your time. And of course, hopefully we're going to find some viable solutions to the current impasse in the education sector. We'd like to now thank our guests for partaking in our discussion this morning. That was another jam-packed edition of your favorite program, Media Monitor, the first one this year. This has been a broadcast from our SABC studios here in Johannesburg. We are back next week, Sunday, live for another live and informative broadcast. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, as well as Twitter. I'm Alicia Jali. This is SABC News. Do enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we hope that you are enjoying 2016. Happy New Year. Goodbye.
Born with malformation of the limbs, David lives his life to the fullest.
I got this. Let me try my own. Got on the bed, then start playing soccer in the streets, then do this.
He can play soccer, he reads and writes, he is even able to swim, a role model to his peers.
Look at the scripture. It doesn't say I'm a conqueror, it says I'm more than a conqueror.
Join your host Buleng Mulebati on Bupilong every Friday at 17:30.
Controlesa is actually stirring the pot here.
I'm sure they've been consulted as Contralesa. They did not see a snake. Now that in certain areas there are certain benefits that might possibly be accruing, there is a snake, now we need to reverse the process.
I agree, but it is not above the sovereignty of the people. The very same court you're talking about.
The sovereignty of the people, probably you should explain that to me.
The sovereignty of the people is above everything.
It is not proper the way facts are presented to the public. Are you in contact with Khosekgolo Motshodi?
He was kicked out by the court because he wanted to be amicus curiae.
For your weekly dose of all things legal, join Dumile Mateza every Sunday at 2 p.m. only on SABC News Channel. Looking for social issues?
It is not our intention to give condoms to 10-year-old children.
We are here to assist you.
Looking for religious issues?
The point is not for the church to try and prove whether this is the fact.
So you want accountability? Is there a system of governance in your churches?
Political issues?
Barack Obama said Africa should stop looking to the outside for salvation and focus on someone else being at fault for the problems of the continent.
Economic issues?
The young mothers, single mothers that's buying property now.
Or just looking to air your views?
Here are some of your views on social media.
Look no further, as Newsroom has all the informative information you need. Weekdays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Found in the Northern Cape is the ancient red landscape that once was the home of the Khoi of Southern Africa. Their rock art is an artifact that was once used as a form of communication and as a language. It gives us a glimpse of the Sands' history and how they lived their lives. The Khoi made most of everything that was around them. Traditionally, women spent 3 to 4 days a week gathering wild plants, often going out in groups to search for edible or medicinal plants. About 400 to 500 local plants and their uses were known to the Khoi.
Everyone, this is the nest for the sociable weavers. Sociable weavers are our famous birds for building the largest nest in the world. So this nest can last up to 700 years or more, because these birds, they are very clever. They don't just build any nest from any tree. They check the strength of the tree, and they know that they came out from trees, they can go for many years. So they come here and then build up this nest. Like I stated, it was built by the sociable weavers. So they work, in socially. They communicate with each other. Some they are providing other grasses. Some they are coming and then just double checking. So this nest can accommodate up to 800 birds of sociable weavers, and can accommodate birds that are very lazy, like the cuckoos, who are very lazy to build their own nest. And even the pygmy falcon bird is so small, it stays also in here. So another thing that is very interesting about these birds is that they don't build their holes on top. They make it very inaccessible for snakes to get them. If you check underneath here, you see there are lots of holes where they are getting inside. Okay, but in the middle here, you see there's a hole with whitish, like a cotton in there. Because this one is a hole for the pygmy falcon. Pygmy falcon picks up these cottons that are coming from this kapok vos, or a common name we call it wild rosemary. You'll see it while we're going to drive. You'll see these small shrubs. They've got these whitish cottons. So they are quite smelly, and then they even repel insects and even snakes. So the pygmy falcon is going to put all these cottons in there, and then even here by the hole, so that snakes can come in here, because they are very scared of the scent. Okay, so it's a mutual relationship. Pygmy falcon makes sure that the snake does not access the nest, and then the sociable weavers, they accommodate the pygmy falcon. So we work together. It's cooperation. One thing that they are very interesting, they make sure they repair and monitor the nest. This nest can be also utilized by the upcoming generation according to the strength of the tree. If the tree is still strong, they do that. And it's very interesting, the air conditioning in here during the summer months is cooler inside. during the winter month is warmer. So they have developed their own air conditioning system. This is the mokala tree or the camel thorn tree, that is the common name. And then Africa's name, they call it camel doren boom. They call it, the name camel or camel is derived from, or is literally coming from the camel perde, which is the giraffe. Because the giraffes, they feed too much on these trees. So this camel thorn tree or mokala, some groups of Tswana people here in Northern Cape, they call this tree mokala, but from where I'm coming from my tribe, we don't call it mokala. In Setswana, we call it mokgotlo. Okay, so mokgotlo is cultural believed and is also medicinal used. You are not allowed to come and run underneath this tree during the thunderstorms or during the lightning periods, because you're gonna get struck by lightning. There's another tree I'm gonna show you while we drive along the way. It's called the buffalo thorn tree, Hakenstiek Vagabeke. That one repels lightning, while this one attracts lightning. Okay, if you check their pot, they are designed more like our ear loop. That is why their Latin name, they call it Acacia areoloba, which simply means ear loop like areoloba. So they are designed more like our ear loop. So if you take the pods, the leaves, and the thorn, as well as the bark and the roots, and then you let them dry out, and then you chop them together. You mix that with goat fat. That thing is used as a protective charm during public debates, wars, and while walking in the bushveld or in the wild. None of these animals will charge you. You are protected. This is how even the Khoisan people and the Bushmen have been surviving in between elephants, lions, leopards, cheetahs, because they were protected. This is the buffalo thorn tree. Other African people, they call it Hakenstiek, because if you check their thorns, another one is hooked, another one is pointing straight. So if this one hacks you, this one is going to stick you. Okay. Another group again of African people, they call it Vagabeke. It's just to tell you, just relax, because this thing, if it hooks, it says relax. You are in a hurry. You are too in a hurry. So again, buffalo thorn tree, the Tswana name for it, we call it mokalo, because wherever they grow, there is lots of water. That is why even the previous farmers, they will, like, if they want to make a drilling hole and getting in an engine, they will go and look for this tree and then make a drainage there, okay, and then pump water from there. And there's another one we saw back there called the shepherd tree, motlopi. Motlopi, if you burn wood of that tree, cows or cattle will produce male offspring. And it's also medicinal use. Unripe fruit of that tree is used to treat diseases like epilepsy, where you go unconscious, like, and then the saliva starts to come out. That's epilepsy. This tree, again, if you check, they've got fruits. When their fruits are ripe, they are black in color. Then you are more than welcome to take one and swallow it. It's quite nice. These fruits, these people from all those thousands of years ago, they were making coffee from this. Let it dry out and then put it in a pan and then a little bit of oil and then fry it and chop it, and they were making coffee from
it. Plants were used in ways similar to Western phytomedicine to treat wounds and heal illnesses, and the mysteries of the Khoi's vast knowledge are being researched till today.